Let's see if we're working. Okay. We look like we are working to me. So, what do we got today? Well, I will show you. I really wanted to play today, but honestly, it was an extremely tiring week, and I just do not have the energy to play today. So, that's what I really wanted to do. I really want to do, but not in the cards. So instead, I still want to stream something. So we're just going to work on some hobby together. And what we're going to do is we are going to add some LEDs. Sorry, this is being a real pain in the tail. Thank you. Oh my God. So we're going to add some LEDs to our modular gaming board. That's what we're going to do. So I've gone ahead and I've done one level. There's a gigantic lizard dancing outside of my window. Like this big. He has a massive orange frill. It's very cool. Um, so yeah, so I went ahead and I did one level. We're gonna do another level today together on stream. Um, but what this is a series of LEDs that all run off of one battery. So there is a 23 volt A battery right here in this pillar, like in the cutout for the pillar, and I ran all the wires around the top. Now the wires, I have to hit them with some kind of wash because they're still very clean looking. But honestly, I don't mind seeing the wires. I mean, this is like a destroyed kind of facility, right? I think it's kind of cool to actually see the wires. Um, let's make sure everything's working. Yeah, it says everything should be working. Let's double check. Um, so yeah, so I don't necessarily mind that the you can see the wires and stuff. I think that's kind of cool. And what I'm also thinking about doing is actually doing another layer of spacers here on the top, so that there's actually another level between the floor and the LEDs, just in case like they're all out of the way, but just to be extra safe, right? I'm thinking about doing another layer there of those spacers. But we're going to go ahead and uh we're going to hook up the other floor like this. And while we do that, what we're actually going to try to do is actually try to make a diffuser. Because these, you're getting some like light kind of blurring, refracting from the camera. That doesn't happen in real life, right? So they look a lot more diffused on the camera than they do in real life. So we're actually going to try to make a diffuser for them too. But first and foremost, because we're using a lot of super glue today, hello, um, we're gonna have to do this in steps so that the super glue has time to dry. So first up is going to be setting up our wires. Now with this one, I'm going to probably do that same 3 light setup. There's a couple specific places that I want there to be lights. Namely, I want there to be one underneath here because it'll shine up through this grate and I think look really cool. Um, I want there to be one kind of like on this side of the hallway and one like over here. So it would basically mean that like 3 of the areas are kind of hit. I could probably do a 4th. I think it would actually let me run a 4th light in the series. We can actually test that really quick. So, show you how I'm doing this. Now, I'm not an electrical engineer by any standard. I make websites and apps, and I help old people with Excel, okay? Don't take my advice for the advice of a pro with these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab 4. I'm going to try running them all in parallel. Because I think we could have like one circuit that they kind of run in a series. But I think the parallel will work better. Because the problem with a series is where you hook one into the next, into the next, into the next, like that. The problem with that is that you, since each one of these has a little resistor in it, right here, so the light bulb doesn't blow from the electricity hitting it. Because of that, as you hit further down the line in the series, you get less and less power, so the lights get weaker and weaker. So running them in parallel just means that we're pulling essentially the same amount of electricity off the battery, just multiple times. So as long as the battery has more than enough electricity than what's going into these, it should be fine. So this is another one here. So LEDs are actually super cheap on Amazon. Don't ever think they're going to be mega expensive. Like a whole bunch of these kind of battery setups with the buttons and a whole something like 60 plus sets of lights was something like $12. So LEDs are actually really cheap on Amazon. So yeah. All right. So let's see. This guy is one of my attempts at making a diffuser. So it actually has a bunch of contrast paint on it, and it kind of works. It kind of works a little bit. It's still very directional though, so yeah, we're gonna keep playing with that. And we're actually gonna try to actually build like a little pseudo lamp for it today. Is what we're gonna try to do. All right, where do my wire cutters go? They are super important. All right, our wire cutters. We got to go ahead and we got to strip this wire. She's right there. Just because we need more of it. I could get my husband to solder these for me, but he's sleeping right now, so we're just gonna twist them. So the instructions call one of these wires the anode and one of these the cathode. I don't know what those words mean. So I'm just gonna say that one of these is our in and our out, our hot wire and our ground. That's probably entirely wrong, but it's how I'm thinking about it. And it's worked thus far. So, fun times. So yeah, so I just have to strip these because I want to make sure that we can actually run 4 in a series or in parallel. We know 3 works. 3 works fine on the other one. I'm assuming 4 is going to work, but I want to make sure before I commit to doing 4. Now, you can probably test this like a cheap-ass way. Actually, to be totally honest, so we'll actually try that and see if we can test it the cheapo way. Negative, 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 positive, positive, positive. Because after we run these, we're going to have to rerun them. We'll have to redo this connection after we run it. Because this connection, there's going to be a bunch of extra wire, and we just want to get rid of that if we can. So, yep. So here's our 4 guys like that. So if you don't want to just twist them or or solder them. You could, they actually have these little twisty ends that go on, but I found that they're pretty big, so I didn't want to use them because I thought they were a little big. And I think a little bit of uh, electrical tape instead looks better, though it's probably not as safe. But I mean, we're dealing with a 23-volt battery, so I'm not too worried. But use all safety precautions and don't listen to me. I'm not an expert. Like I said, I help old people with Excel and I make websites and apps. That's what I do. I don't do electrical engineering. I don't even touch hardware in my job in any way. All right, there we go. Okay, now I need that battery. So this set here on Amazon, this like butt-in and battery set, this works really good for this size. They actually fit in the holes really nice, and I'll kind of show it off in a little bit after we make sure that it's going to work in parallel here. All right, we can have 4 lights. Cool. All right, sweet. That's what we need to see. Also, you probably shouldn't work on electricity on a big metal plate. Once more, don't take me as expert advice. All right. So what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to get a rough idea where this sucker's going to have to go. So what do we want? Well, we want one down here underneath. I want one kind of facing this way, I guess, since I'm going to have a 4th one. I want one over here, and I want one over here facing this way. So if I go ahead and glue the battery in this hole, and then the switch in that hole, like that, that'll give me a similar setup to the one below, which is good. And then, so they're going to be like right there. And then I'm going to have this guy, and what he can do is he can run down around and get underneath, and he'll look something like that, which I think is pretty cool. You can kind of see it coming up through the grates there. I think that's pretty neat. So he'll look something like that. And then this guy I can glue like right here, and he'll look something like that. Like lighting up this kind of area, I think this is kind of neat. And last but not least, well, the problem is that this guy here, to get him over here is going to be a real challenge. So he's going to have to run along the ground and then up the wall, down and around the wall, like that. And that's going to be hard to make work. So that one's going to be a challenge. So we'll keep that in mind. And the other one's going to run from about here, around the wall again, and then over here where it's pointing in like that. So it gives us kind of a rough idea of how we want them to sit. But what we really need to do now is, because what we really want to avoid is pulling these suckers while the glue is drying. So what we need to do now is we need to glue some of these down, and then kind of go from there. So this guy, we'll actually go ahead and we'll put him here, because this is the, I guess it really doesn't matter. As long as they both face up, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll put the battery here instead. Yeah. Alright, so you want the wire to sit in the crevice like it's supposed to, like that. And then it's our friend, the glue time. Hello, glue time. Alright, I'm going to pull the battery out just for now. Okay. There we go. And I just kind of have him go right in there. And glue. Yeah, it's going to take a couple minutes to hold probably, so we're going to be stuck here holding this stupid thing, unfortunately. Or not. Okay, that works too. Okay. And then our switch, we're basically going to do the exact same thing for. But we want this end to be up. And yeah, we're just going to glue that in the center of the wall there. Just like that. And that way, this floor and the floor above it that we kind of showed off already, they'll just all work off the same kind of button. What's shaking? You're getting pretty adventurous there. I changed my YouTube name to reflect my train making gig. Nice! That's very cool. The train stuff, especially like the mat and all you've made, is very fun. But yeah, LEDs, they're pretty adventurous. Although honestly, I paid almost as much for the batteries as I did for all the LED stuff. So they probably seem a lot more adventurous than they are. And I mean, it's not like my wire cutters, even as old as these things are definitely, they were more expensive than the stuff for the LEDs. So, but definitely not a normal feature for sure. All right, so we got to let these sit for a little bit. So while we do that, we're going to try to look at making a diffuser is what we're going to try to do. Because while the lights look very diffused on the camera, they actually aren't. Also, this is a Skanky Robot Girl. This has nothing to do with what we're doing today. I just love Skanky Robot Girls. And being married to a guy, I feel like I'm entitled to like Skanky Robot Girls without being weird, although I'm weird anyway, so it doesn't matter. What I actually want from the Skanky Robot Girl is this. So this is, oh, that's cool. I'll have to check your logo out later. So what I want is this. This is the kind of hard-ish clear plastic that comes wrapped around the gunpla boxes. Yeah, I love Skanky Robot Girls. Even when you are in Don Quixote, which is like a Japanese Walmart, I guess, and you buy yourself a Skanky Robot Batgirl, right? And she's very fun. So I'll talk about why I like the Skanky Robot Girls in a minute, but you buy yourself a Skanky Robot Batgirl, and yeah, she's the one thing that won't scan. So the little old Japanese lady that's checking you out has to call like 3 different coworkers to find the scan to find this cost for your Skanky Robot Batgirl. So I love them even though that's the case. Why do I love the Skanky Robot Girls? Because Bandai has a range called 30-minute missions, and these things aren't directly tied to any anime. They're all just kind of cool, like standalone mecha, right? And they actually all run off of a 3mm peg system, Well, so do the skanky robot anime girls. They also run off a 3mm peg system. So all of their parts are completely interchangeable with the stuff from 30-minute missions, which is super freaking cool. Now, this line goes further. And they have a line called 30-minute fantasy, which also uses the same 3mm peg system, and an armored core line. This one is painted up. This fantasy guy is painted too, but still. And an armored core line that also uses the 3mm peg system. So you can swap parts between all of these extremely easily, which is super cool and fun. Anyway, back to what we're actually here to do. That's not me talking about how much I love 30-minute missions. Man, look, it's fucking like dinosaur guy. It's so fucking cool. Anyway. Oh, and that lady with her Bayonetta outfit and this like big chunker mech. Oh, that chunker mech, by the way, is like $19 on Amazon, and he's twice the size of a dreadnought. Just saying, and is fully posable. Anyway, moving on. So this, what we're gonna do, I'm going to rewire this one real quick because I tried painting this LED, and I don't really know how it worked. Oh, I guess I can just scratch all the paint off. Guess I could have tried that before I unhooked it. Oh well. We'll get a new one. We can actually test it with a blue one. I have extra blue ones. We'll do that. I like gunpla, but I always seem to lose pieces. I'm clumsy AF. That's fair. Some of the pieces can be really small too, especially when you get into stuff like real grade. But that's the nice things about 30-minute missions. They're they're almost as simple as gunpla can get, which is pretty fun. I like the fantasy dude. Yeah, really cool. They have a skeleton kit out that's out right now that I really want to get. And it's like a pack of like 2 robot-ish skeleton things. It's super freaking cool. There's also like a necromancer that's out right now. But yeah. My painting desk to the left here is covered in those kits because they're just so much fun to mess around with. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of back and forth across these projects today while we work. Because we're going to have to do one thing, let it sit, do the next part, let it sit like that, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, I hooked it up backwards. No wonder it's not working. See, this is why I say I'm not an expert at this stuff. Literally, the wires are literally color coded, and I ran them backwards. So when we run the lines for real, we'll wrap them in electrical tape so they're not like a shocking hazard. But for now, it's fine. Okay, there we go. So these guys came with these. This is like a holder so you can mount it in something. Um, what I want to try doing is I want to try putting a piece of clear plastic over this and then painting it and see if I can use it like a diffuser. So step 1 for this is going to be gluing it down to this clear plastic here. That's going to be step 1. We can go take a look at our lights while that does that. So let me move this out of the way. So I can do the other thing too while I do this. Honk, just like that. Okay, so that guy's gluing down. Let's go look at our lights. Okay, let's see. We know... Oh man, I did a lot more glue in there than I thought I did. We'll have to hit that with some paint or it's going to be really reflective on the camera. All right. Now, we know where we want some of these lights to go. So, because of that, what we're going to do is we're going to glue the light down, and then we can cut the line to where it will end up going. So, we'll go ahead and we'll take the lines apart for now. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and we'll pull them apart real quick, because we're going to have to rerun all these lines anyway to get rid of extra. So this way they'll at least be a little bit easier to work with. Okay. I'll move those over to the side. Okay. So we know we want one to go underneath, like down under here somewhere. So what I'm thinking is that I can do something like that. Like actively glue it to the bottom there, I think I could do. Or I could glue it like here and just have it shine into there. I think that's probably the better way to do it because I can bend it a little too then. Yeah, let's do that. Let's glue it there. And then what we'll do is we'll just bend it in. So, well, this is going to be a hobby day of much shit glued to my fingers. That's what today's going to be. But yeah, I really wanted to play a game today. I don't have it in me, man. Oh, this week I was teaching and doing like high level briefs to a lot of people, like all week long. Just any social battery I had was gone. All right, so there's that guy. Let's set our next one up. All right, we know we're gonna want one. You know what? I think what we'll do is we'll actually run the next one from the inside. So we'll run it this way, like this. I think is what we'll do. Yeah. And I think we'll have it right there next to the ladder. I think that works pretty well. Then we can run the line here along the inside and back. That way we'll also have a little bit of room to bend it and angle it down if we want to once it dries, you know what I mean? So. Sorry, the camera just looked a little blurry to me there for a sec, so I was checking it. Alright, there we go. Alright, and we'll let that sit for a minute. And then, let's see, this one, I would really like to get one over on this wall somehow, on this side. So that's going to be an option of either coming around like this and down and across like that as an option. But I think that's going to be distance-wise very challenging. So I think what we might do is we might do it like this, and then I'm just going to 100% rely on the fact that I'm going to build a second level. Maybe. I could also drill a hole in the wall and have it actually poke through the hole in the wall. And then the line will be much easier to run then. Yeah, that one's a real challenge, to be honest. Um, if I actually just maybe run it down under here. Oh shit, look at that. I can actually just run it underneath. Have you ran lights on terrain before? Uh, no. No, I've done it on models. And I did the floor below, above this. So I can actually, or I did one of the other Death Creep floors. I can show it to you when, yeah, we'll actually run it underneath. I like that. That works really well. I'll show you the line when, or I'll show it to you when I finish gluing these guys down. 'Cause this is one of those things where, like, I could work really hard to hide the wires, but I'm going to be super honest. I actually went and added a bunch of extra wires to this to make it look like more industrial. So the fact I'm adding actually working wires is pretty cool. Yeah, I have a couple models that have lights in them. I did like a big orc knight that has lights. I have uh let's see. Let's see if his lights still work. All right. Pardon all the hair and the dust. This guy is very dusty. Um, but this guy has lights on his inside. So, let's see. He is so freaking dusty. Oh my God. Dude. And he doesn't actually have a battery right now. Okay, ignore that then. Um, but yeah, this guy has lights in him. My other orc knight has lights, but he's out of my glass cabinets. My big Stompa has lights. So a lot of my orc mechs have lights, I guess. I probably took the batteries out of them though, because I know they'd be sitting. So I haven't played a big game like that in a long time. So, but yeah, the fact that these are, the fact that this is kind of like a destroyed industrial thing, I'm not going to mind the fact I'm going to run you're going to see the wires. As a matter of fact, I'm actually just going to, one of the things we're going to do today is on the other floor, we're going to hit it with, uh, wash. It's one of the things I'm going to do today on stream. Okay, now that leaves me one extra light. I do like the idea of having one around here, so I think we will do that. Yeah, I think we'll do that. I like the idea of having one here. Nice. All right, now those all need to set, and then we'll go through and start gluing more and more of the wires, basically. But let's go look at the other floor that's working already. You can also see the unfinished roof here for the top floor of the death cube. Yeah, so the top floor of the death cube, the rooms are going to get a little roof, but it's definitely not ready yet. I just printed it and glued it. I haven't actually painted any of it yet, so that's going to get primed today though. All right, so the lower level of the second floor of the death cube. She has a LED switch just like the one I just put in, right? And it kind of illuminates with some of the blue, some of the like areas, and gives like a cool kind of blue hue here and there. I went with the blue because the computer screens, I painted them blue, and I thought that was kind of neat. And like everything on this thing is fucking like red or yellow, so I wanted a different color. So, but you can see like the really strong directional here, right? And I'd much rather have more of a diffused light. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to play around with the diffuser next. So we're gonna move this guy out of the way too, and we will play around with the diffuser. Okay, so we got this boy here glued down to our plastic. And really we should cut the plastic out, but we'll see if it works even like this. The concept should still be the same. Does that make a difference? Do we feel like that makes a difference? That versus that? Definitely cuts some of the light out from the sides, that's for sure, but I don't know if it actually is diffusing anything. Alright, so what we'll try to do, we are going to invoke our good friend Mod Podge. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to try painting some Mod Podge on it. That's what we're going to do. There we go. Now I tried just putting Mod Podge on the bulbs, and it works a tiny bit, but not as much as I would like it to work. So that's why I thought maybe making a larger surface area might work better, right? Because that's how big lights work out in the real world. Like studio lights and stuff, like my lights in here, right? They work by diffusing light around. All right, strong tone. I actually need better diffusers on the lights I have in here. They're not very good. The lights are great. The diffusers they came with fucking suck. It's one of the reasons sometimes you get shadows, like when I'm around here, you can kind of see it on my hand there. It's because I'm actually bouncing the light off the ceiling in here, because the lights are too strong. Yeah, on camera it's diffusing way more than it is in person. So we'll see how she looks and go from there. All right, we can just move this guy out of the way. Okay, cool. All right, so we want to hit all these wires with some wash. So I've just got strong tone here. I'm not going to even bother. I'm not even going to bother watering it down or anything. We're just going to do straight strong tone. And I'm just going to go around and hit all the wires and stuff. It's not going to make a giant difference, but it should at least make them a little more worn looking. I could probably do like painting and stuff on the like actual painting and actually paint the wires and all like I did these other ones. Like this is a wire, for example, I added, or these pipes that I added here. I could probably go through and actually paint all these. I really don't want to do that. I don't enjoy painting wires. They're actually one of the things I really hate painting. wires and leather straps on skulls, and for whatever reason, GW really loves fucking leather straps on skulls. Are like my two big pet peeves for things I have to paint. But this should at least give something to the wires, even if it's not perfect. Because in truth, when the death cube's assembled, you'll never see these wires anyway, because they're almost all up near the top. Like, the only ones that are going to show up are these red ones here, and I've painted red wires already, right? There's literally a red wire behind it that's not a real wire. So there's some like precedence kind of blending for that already, which is nice. Okay. So a little something something to the wires. All right. Okay, so those wires are all. Let's make sure the. All right, the wash didn't explode them. That's good. Good job. Okay. Okay. Now these guys are probably dry enough. Told you there'd be a lot of back and forth with projects today. So what we need to do is we need to figure out where we want these suckers to connect. So here's my out and in. We got this dangly wire. I might actually leave that. That looks kind of cool. I might glue that down a little bit and then leave it. Yeah, I actually think that looks cool. All right, we'll glue that down so it looks like it has a little more weight and then kind of leave it as is. All right, so here's my out and in. I think we're going to choose to connect somewhere like here above this window, I think is where we're going to choose to connect. I think that's going to be our connection spot, somewhere up here. So now we need to figure out how to get every line over to that. We probably actually could connect inside this hole, which would probably be the best. Let's actually see if we can do that. That would be pretty sweet. All right, so this guy, you probably can't really see what I'm doing, but down here, under this grate is where that one wire is running. So I'm just trying to feel it with my finger to make sure it's as tight as it can be. Does that make sense? So I don't need to glue it everywhere, but it does need to get hit with a little bit of something something so it stays in place. So you're not going to be able to see this. Apologies. But what I'm doing is I'm reaching up underneath that walkway and applying glue underneath of it. And then making sure that the wire hits that glue. And then this guy's going to come up here, and he's going to get glued here in this corner as well. Now we could run this a shorter distance, but like I said, I kind of like the wires. I think they're neat. I think they add to the, you know, the ruined facility-ness of this. So I think we're actually going to lean into it a little bit, to be honest. I'm going to make a choice to put some of the wires kind of aesthetically. So this guy, he'll glue right there in a second. Good. All right. That's still wet, but you're holding at least. Okay, now this guy here, he's going to run along the inside. So, again, we're going to invoke our aesthetic wire fixins. And like I'm not going to run it super tight there, so there's a little bit of hangout so you can kind of see it a little bit better. And then he will connect up over there. So he'll get another connection with glue here on this corner too. I can't believe I haven't like super glued my fingers to this thing yet. It's like a freaking Christmas miracle. All right, there we go. Nice. Okay. So that guy's glued, that guy's glued, so they're both running. These are our main lines. Let's see, this guy here. We're starting to get into the land of just there's a lot of wire. So, but it's also one of those things where it's like I don't wanna clip anything yet. You know what I mean? Okay, so this guy's facing that way. This guy's coming up this way. So we want him. Right, if we're gonna, what I think I'm gonna do is I think we're gonna connect like up here somewhere, and I'm gonna shove it in next to the battery. So I think my goal is gonna be this guy goes up like this. I think that's gonna be the goal there. So what we'll do is we'll actually glue him, I don't know, about halfway up the wall there, I guess. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll glue him about halfway up the wall. Man, you can tell I'm super, super exhausted. I'm like all shaky. I don't know if you guys can see it, but man, I'm sitting here like fucking this. I'm like fucking like Baltimore Street crackhead Jonesing over here. Fucking sign me up for the wire kind of shit, man. That's what I look like. And then this guy, he is. He's kind of in a rough spot, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not making sure what I'm going to do with him yet. As his tail is like right there. Okay, so let's take a couple of these and we'll figure out where they're going to go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to attach these around like here, and I'm going to fold it down like that. I think that's the goal. So I probably want to clip these like this. And that means I want to clip this guy similarly as well. Like that. And then this guy, I also want to clip the same. Want him clipped about the same there. There we go. And then this Blue guy we can do the same with as well. All right, that's all our hot wires done. Now, our other wires, we're going to follow the same logic. What we're going to do is we're going to take the black wire here, get that out of the way, get this out of the way. We're going to take this black wire here, and we're going to run all the other black wires, kind of similar thing, right? We're going to have them connect up, and then we're going to shove it down. That's going to be the goal. Okay, and then this one, last but not least, as well. Okay, so that's kind of where we want them all. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them connect around right here, like that. As I clipped one of the blue ones by accident. Good job, me. There we go. All right, all our lines are cut. Now, we need to skin them. So we'll just start doing that. Yep. Just going to start skinning our lines. Shit, I should pull the thing out. Back in there, motherfucker. All right. Whew. I knew this would take so much goddamn energy. It's running wires and toys. All right, there we go. There we go. One more to go. All right. Huzzah! Okay. We're getting close. All right, let's go look at our diffuser guy again. See how he's doing. All right, so this is with a coat of Mod Podge over the plastic. Let's see how it looks. Is it more or less diffused? Let's see. Versus that. To be honest, I just feel like it's less light because of all the plastic around it. All right, let's try some of that contrast paint. See if that works. Okay. Ashen Stone is our contrast paint. Let's see if that works. Sweet indeed, I agree. We are making electrical progress. Making electrical progress. Testing stuff out. Alright. And now we'll let that dry for a couple of minutes. And we'll go wire up all our wires while it does that. Okay. Let's see. Black to black. Okay, black to black. To black. Okay. To black. Okay. Where's my last black line? There it is, right there. 2 black. All right. Blue to blue. My brain wants to say colored to colored because these aren't blue to blue, but I just called the other ones black, and it's just using the terms black and then colored just sounds kind of racist. And I know it's nothing what I'm talking about. It's just my brain's like, that sounds bad. So we're going to call these ones, we'll call them the hot lines. There we go. This will be the hot lines. All right, there we go. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull the battery out of our diffuser test. Oh, we're going to pop her in here. We're going to make sure everything works. Da-na-na-na! Da-na-na-na-na-na! Dun 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 dun! I do like that where you can see it underneath. I think that's cool. Alright, so it's going to be a good time for us to bend these a little bit. It's a good time for that. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Let's see what she looks like. Because really I'm making it for when the lid is on, right? Or when the floor above it's on. So like that. I do like that it illuminates the hallway. That's cool. Alright. And it looks like our battery pack broke. So let's go fix that. Okay. Battery pack broke. That's fine. Just what we'll do is we'll actually sit it in there instead of have it hang. That'll give us more room when we tape the other ones to show them down. Okay, come on, man. Stick. Stick, you bastard. All right, so now we need a little bit of electrical tape. Just so those things aren't... thank you. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And like I said, the LEDs were... they legitimately cost less money than my wire cutters. So the LEDs were like 12 bucks. And for a ruined facility, you know, I don't care that you can see the wires, right? I think that adds to the decor. And we can go ahead and tape these up and then get them out of the way. Now the trick to electrical tape is that electrical tape doesn't really stick to the metal. What it really sticks to is the plastic on the wire. Or to itself. It's one of the reasons why it's so hard to pull off electrical tape is. Like unwire it or unroll it is so freaking hard because it really sticks to plastic. So we want to make sure 100% that it is on the wire and not just the metal. Which I guess is also the wire, but the coating of the wire, the plastic part. Okay, there we go. Now what we can do is we can shove these. We can shove them. We can shove them basically right in here, like that. Our housing contractor in the 80s. All right. And this one is going to be a little tighter, unfortunately, but we can also make it work. I believe in us. We can also shove it in there. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, indeed. And we'll just hit this with a little bit of more glue right there. Make sure those wires stay down and out of the way. Like that. Hell yeah, and a big ugly rat's nest of wires. Perfectly fitting for an abandoned facility. And our lights still work. Hell yeah. Alright, let's get her on the Lazy Susan. And we'll take a look at all of it with all the lights turned on. And then we'll go look at our diffusing example and see how she's coming. Oh, I gotta do this wire still. Crap. Want it to go like that, or do we want it to maybe like do that? I think that's kind of cool where it goes across like that and then down. It's kind of neat. Or I guess we could do the same thing here. We could have it go across and then have it hang just straight down in this corner. Or you just have it hang just straight down as is, right? Like that. Yeah, let's do that. We'll have it just hang straight down. Now the wire definitely does not have as much weight as it would in real life as a real wire, so that means that we have to glue it, unfortunately. So. There it goes. Okay. What game system is this intended for? OPR. I've been playing OPR. One-page rules Star Quest on it, which is like a skirmish game. It works really well. You could probably come on. Why you be like that? Don't be like that. Sorry. Bonk. You could probably very easily play Necromunda as well in this kind of setup. So yeah, so you get some kind of cool, kind of light hues on some of these, right? And they kind of illuminate some of the area. I do like having the 4 lights. I kind of wish the one down below had 4 lights. I kind of want to run another light on the one down below. So I think the 4 lights is cool because you kind of have lights like everywhere. But yeah, it just gives a little bit of cool, like, kind of hue for the stuff. But yeah, I've been playing Star Quest on it. There's a 3 or 4 Let's Plays now from the last couple weeks that I played on the Death Cube. I was going to play it today, but I just don't have the energy to, so. But yeah, that's pretty freaking sweet, I'm not going to lie. This one is it's unfortunately a little bit not as good as I wanted it to be. That one's a little meh. That one is. I like the one down the hallway a lot because you can really see it. That's cool. Yeah, and this one actually works super good too. And down below. See, this one being so high up does make it a little less intense. Yeah, see, I'd like to have one like here. Could I run one there? Yeah, because I would really like to have one right here. All right, let's check. We also have to hit the wires on the level that we ran together. We have to hit those with some wash as well. All right, let's see. So other questions about the Death Cube. This is all made out of pieces from Saucerman Studios. They made a tile set that's intended to replace that really expensive indoor space tile set from GW. But you can actually put them together if you get creative and make like little facility tiles. Now the really neat thing is I could also put all these next to each other and make a 2x2 game board instead of having a 1 foot tall by 1 foot square game board. So if I really wanted to do that, I could do that and play like a flat game of Necromunda too. Once I get my 4th board finished, I think we'll actually try that out and see how it goes. Okay, I want one right here. I think that's pretty doable. The problem is I would need to reconnect all those wires, and they're already kind of glued in place. So reconnecting them is going to be a real pain in the tail. Unless I try running it in a series, but I haven't, because I could actually just cut these wires here and connect in twice. I've been running everything in parallel though, and not in a series. So, but let's say I wanted it like right here, right? What would that look like? Would that be doable with the wires? Yes, most definitely it would be. That would 100% be doable. Or even if I had it do this and face this way, like the opposite of this light that's right here. Really? It's not time to look at the DOM. But yeah, even if I had it like, if I had it go like that, it would still work too, even like that. That would actually work really well. Man, I don't want to have to reconnect those. Having the 4th light would be cool though. Alright, so we're going to do it. YOLO. If I don't do it, I'll be sad every time I use the lights. Alright, we're going to have to do it in a couple steps though. We're going to have to glue the light down and then run the wires and everything like the other ones that we just did. Alright, we'll go look at our diffuser real quick while I do this as well. While this sits. Oh crap, I pulled the battery out of the diffuser. I only have 2 of those batteries. Alright, let's go get the battery from the other floor then. Sorry, your camera angle's gonna suck for a minute. Alright, so here's our diffuse attempt. Let's see how that's going. Ooh. That really shortened it. I don't know if it diffused it or not. But it really reduced it. What if I make like a light condom. Let's try that. Let's try making a light condom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint on this. Is that paint still out? Is it still dry? Is it still wet? No. We're going to just paint some of the plastic, and then I'm going to try bending it around to go around our light bulb, because then I think we won't lose the light on the sides. We still going to get more of a diffused effect. With it, how it stands right now, we just are losing too much light. So we're just going to paint a bunch of this. So this is just that white contrast paint, or I think it's called ashen gray, I think. Yeah, I'm grabbing the contrast because I know it's kind of transparent. But if I was to do this to actually make these, I would probably water down white paint. But I mean, we're just testing right now, so we're going to do the easiest thing we can to test. You know what I mean? All right, we'll move her off to the side again. And now we need to paint the... Hey, Patrick, what you doing? Which one do we need to paint? No, we need to paint the second floor's wires. Right. There we go. And fear the strong turtle. There it is. So yeah, just got some strong tone, and we're just going to hit the wires here, just so they have a little something something to them. So they're not just like pure pretty blue, you know. We want them to have a little bit of weathering, even if it's only a tiny bit. As we like being able to see the wires because this is an abandoned like hell facility, but we don't necessarily want them to be pristine and clean. So just going through and hitting them all with some strong tone. Agrex or shade, and any kind of like brown wash will do the job. Just because we wanted to have a little something something. Now, you're always going to see this, like the death cube 99% of the time is going to have a level above it, right? So chances are you won't normally see the wires that well. Because I have some more strong tone, I'm just going around and hitting assorted things. And you have like an evil hell facility. You can never have too much strong tone. All right. Okay. All right. Let's run that last line. And then we can try our light condom and see how she does. Okay. Now remember when I told you that it sucks to pull off electrical tape? Yeah, I wasn't kidding. It sucks a lot. So I'm going to be nice and behave. Oh my god, it did! Holy shit, alright. I'll take that. Yes, please. How about this guy? Okay, that works. It's not the correct way to do that, but that'll work as well. Okay, alright, alright. Alright, making progress. Now we run our blue line over here with this guy as well and glue him down there. Hey, I'm good. Should be sleeping, but digging the hobby vibes. Hell yeah. Hobby vibes for the win. Yeah, to be honest, there's like so many crazy YouTube channels that do like all these like pre-built stuff and all this perfect stuff and all, and I don't know. I kind of like getting on here and just kind of futzing around. All right, so there's our live wire. I did really want to play OPR today, but that was just not in the cards with the energy we got today, so. Just not in the cards. To be honest, this stream is a lot longer than I thought I would be streaming for already. And I'm starting to like feel it. I'll tell you what. Next week, I get all the wonderful stress of waiting to see if I got promoted or not. So that's going to be a good time. And by good time, I mean that's going to be a terrible time. And by terrible time, I mean an absolutely horrible time. But yeah, promotions have to go through a couple of rounds of like review. Made it through the first round. Don't know if I made it through the second round yet. I won't know until next week. Hell yeah! And in between there, I was teaching, doing tons of high-level briefs, and I'm like beyond a zombie right now. Have you ever played Legend of Zelda and there's like these things called the re-dead? That's what I feel like right now. I feel like a re-dead. They're like zombies. Really, I think technically they're geists, but Legend of Zelda calls them re-dead. He's got a kick-ass beard. I do. I like my beard. Everyone always likes my beard more than I do, though, honestly. My dad just had a beard, and then I just kind of let my beard go. And then I shaved it one time many years ago, and it felt really weird. I've got a really bad habit of like not recognizing myself in mirrors. So when I do like big changes like that, it really screws with me. So yeah, man, I was like, what the hell's going on for like a couple of weeks? All right, there we go. There's our other guys all wired up. And I think I'll do is I think I'll bend those down like that and just leave them right there. I think that is the best spot for them. Hell yeah. Majestic beard, I agree. Good luck on your promotion. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's me. Yeah, that's fair, dude. Oh. All right. All right. Uh, oh, before I do that, 'cause I have to pull the battery out, we'll test our light condom real quick. Oh, okay. Here's our light bulb. Here's our material. And what we're doing is we're just gonna wrap it. We're gonna see how that works. That actually seems to do a pretty darn good job diffusing it, to be honest. Worth the effort to put in that fourth LED. Yeah, I think it looks good. We'll turn it all on in a second. Does it really diffuse it? Oh yeah, I guess it really does. Huh. Okay. I might make little light condoms for all of them then. But I'm gonna be super honest, I'm not gonna make that. I'm not gonna make them today. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit. Think about the best way to make those. So let's check our progress out. We'll get the death cube all set up. Ah! Go, and then let's get the lid. Gotta paint these roofs for the lid too, just so the color gets knocked down there. We'll get the stairs too. So the trick to the death cube is that each floor is using the 4 central pillars. So if I go to this anywhere on this thing and I push down in the middle, they all click down. It's a good diffuser. Maybe baking paper could work as well. That's actually a really good idea. Baking paper would probably work really well. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's put the steps in. Oh, let's see. Where do we want? Do we want a step right here? Yeah, let's go ahead and put a step in right there. That'll neat. Come on. There we go. And where do we want the other steps? Put one in down here. Really, that's basically all the setup the death cube takes. It's really that. And she's good to go. Where are my OPR guys? There we go. We'll put some dudes around. And some bad guys. Do kind of spin all around. Oh! All right, let's check her out. Whoop. Really, camera? Come on. Come on, you're killing me here, camera. All right. I think that's cool being able to like have the light shine up on all the dudes and just. And I like the fact that they're blue because all of the computer panels are blue, so I like all the lights being blue. down here. Yeah, that's fun. I'm really happy with that LED. That one's really nice. I also like that you can kind of like see down the tunnel a little, and it kind of makes it dark and spooky. Because otherwise, without the LED, that's what it looks like. And then with the LED, you got the light. I think that looks really freaking cool. Yeah. That looks sick. Thank you. I'm very happy with it. I think that came out way better than I was expecting, to be honest. Yeah, I really like it down the hallway there. I think that looks super cool and kind of eerie. This is a very cool way to have a large play area with a small footprint. I'm gonna look at OPR. Yeah, OPR is great. So it's one-page rules. It's like a simpler version of Warhammer. But my fried egg of a brain can't do Warhammer anymore. I just can't. So OPR has much simpler rules and everything like that. And their skirmish and solo game, which is called Star Quest, um, lets you basically play on any board you want, right? So like there's not rules specifically for playing on a board like this. I just made this board and have been playing on it. And I was playing Dead Zone and I had the realization that your characters don't actually move around the board very much. So in Dead Zone, an average character is 2 to 3 blocks of movement, and it's an 8 block wide board, which means that in a 5 turn thing, an average trooper's only going to be able to move across the board, and that's it. So that's all the movement you're going to get. So if you do any zigzagging or anything like that, you're not going to be able to make it all the way across the board. Um, so by breaking the board down into these really tight kind of corridors, it means that even 6 inch movement really kind of moves a character around, right? So like each one of these is 6 inches. Each one of these square sections is 6 inches. So I can basically have a character go between levels with one charge, or not a charge, but one advanced move, which is like a double move. And it means that kind of like you can get basically halfway across one of these floors with a regular move and still shoot that turn. So it means that you get a lot of cool. That looks really cool down the hallway there. That looks really neat. I like that a lot. That's because it's bouncing off the stair pillar here. Um, so with it being this cramped and tight, you get a lot of play just kind of moving around with even something like 6 inch move. So learn. I'm not completely nuts over it as of yet. I heard Trench Crusade was a very simple game to learn, though I'm not completely nuts over it yet. Uh, yeah, I haven't actually tried playing Trench Crusade. Um, the like kind of like pseudo Christian theme kind of put me off, to be honest. But I like some of the stuff they're doing with like the Abyss. I think that's really neat, and like the idea that like hell existed like before creation, and I think that's kind of cool. Like I think there's some cool potential for lore in there that I think's neat that I didn't know about. So Trench Crusade might be something I'll visit in the future. And to be honest, I would love to build a trench board. Um, oh man, imagine. All right, imagine this shit, right? Top floor, trenches, right? Even if it's 1 foot like this, although maybe I do like 16 inches. Top floor, trench, like a trench system, right? Second level down, um, you would descend into like a facility with like sandbags all up on the walls and wood grating and stuff. And the third level could be like a hell dugout with like spikes and blood pits and like just carved into the earth and like bodies and sacrifices and stuff. Oh, that would be so freaking sweet. Yeah. That's a fun idea. I like that a lot. But yeah, been looking to get into solo. I've been playing a lot of 40k. Yeah, 40k can be fun. I don't have my brain can't do 40k anymore. I'm just can't. It's too many rules. The games are too long. I can't keep up with it all changing all the time. I don't have fun playing a 4 hour game. After about like an hour and a half, I'm done. So I can't play 40k anymore. I have to play smaller stuff if I'm going to still like stay in and enjoy the tabletop hobby. I have to do smaller things nowadays. So that's why I like skirmish games a lot, and that's why I like OPR because the rules are very simple. Yeah, yeah, it would be really fun. Really cool. That would be an awesomely fun board to make for Trench Crusade. I would love to do that. They do have a new starter box coming out. Trench Crusade does. Um, Maybe when that comes out, I'll debate picking it up and getting into it. Because that would be fun to make. It would also just be fun to make trenches. I think you can make a really cool trench system using the negative space as the trenches. So what you would do is you would print out a bunch of like duck board, make a bunch of duck boards, and then you would make like pillars, not pillars, but like mounds, I guess, with trench walls on them, and you'd set all the trench walls up, and then the characters would basically move through the negative space, and the negative space would become your trenches. Um, as you like sort of move around on the duck boards. I think that could be a really cool setup for a board. I don't know if there's STLs for that or not already, but um, I think setting a board up and using the negative space as the trench is a really cool idea. So, anyway, I got to get some food because I am starving. And I haven't eaten anything, and it's already 1:30 here in Hawaii. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call it there. Thank you guys for watching me add LEDs um, to my Hell Cube. I greatly appreciate it. Anytime anybody comes and hangs out. Next week, hopefully, I'll have the energy and we'll get to play a game on the board and it'll be fun. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it there. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good one. And as always, keep on keeping